Team Junkyard Dog here today, and we are doing the damage report from the West Palm Robot Ruckus Makers Fair event. The event was a nice event. We only had one day to do it and very limited hours, so it was a fast and furious. Very little time to get repairs done before you had to go back in the arena, so it was kind of crazy, but it was also a lot of fun. We had some pretty amazing fights, a couple very brutal fights, but the bots held up well overall. In just a couple days, we're going to Tallahassee for Bot Brouhaha, which is linked with Team Extinguisher, and this is their first event. So I have to do this damage report today so I can rebuild the bots just to go tear them up in 3 days. It's literally Thursday, we're going to be fighting Saturday. So let's pan the camera down, take a look at the damage. Okay, up first we have Big G. Big G did not take very much damage. We did fight mechanical advantage, but we did go the distance and there was not a lot of damage done to the bot. It was a judge's decision in favor of mechanical advantage because we did lose drive on one side. And that drive was lost because inside there's a terminal connection inside here, and that terminal connection broke. I could wiggle this post and the motor would kick on and off, but the gearbox itself was just fine. That's how we lost drive. But other than that, the only damage that we got from mechanical advantage was he chewed up our front forks here, which turned out to be a saving grace to him in my opinion, because in that fight you saw that we got to his side several times, but we were not able to put a hit on him, and that's because these forks were tore up and we couldn't get under him, and we were just pushing him away from our weapon with the forks. So in retrospect, these forks are going bye-bye. We're no longer going to run forks in the front, so if you come in contact with the front of this bot, you're going to come in contact with this beater bar. No forks at all. But other than the forks, you can see when we fought Achilles, the other drum, we had some nice chunks taken out of our beater bar. The screw heads are all chewed up. This thing has definitely seen better days. So we're going to be replacing that. For the next event, we have a whole new one here that's going to be for Tallahassee. And then other than that, we just had a little bit of a scrapage on the back here and a couple little dents in our trash can wheel protectors, but Big G held up very well. And like I said, all we're going to do for the next fight is we're swapping out the weapon motor, we're putting a new pulley in, a new belt, a new beater bar, and he will be ready for action. Let's take a look at Tyrone. Now here's Tyrone. I've already pulled his guts out. I had no damage whatsoever until I fought Cannibal Mini. Now Cannibal Mini has a Terminator style blade, but his blade is a custom blade made out of AR400, and it's quite a bit heavier than the titanium blades. So what I'm trying to say is that blade hits very, very hard. And you can see that this is a 1mm titanium armor plate on the front, and it's quite bent up. It's got some really nice deep gouges in it and just beat up in general. But what I'm surprised the most about is you can see on the chassis here where I took direct shots. One here if you can see that. One in the back here on this plastic PLA chassis. Now this is not normal PLA, it's called Polymax PLA, which is a more flexible and not so brittle PLA, and it prints like PLA, but it's way more durable. And if this chassis can take direct shots from a robot like Cannibal Mini and this chassis is still usable, then that's some very good plastic. Now what all happened to this besides my armor getting dinged up against Cannibal Mini was he hit my wheel on this side and actually cut the wheel lock, cut that clean in half, so that was missing because it literally got cut in two, and bent the motor shaft into the shape of a U, and that's why it's not here. I took it off and I gave it to Cannibal Mini to add to their trophy case because it was just a perfect shot on a wheel. And in that fight I lost drive on this one as well, and that's just because the solder joint broke off of the second gearbox. And if that solder joint had held on for about 10 more seconds and I could have showed movement at the end of the fight, I would have had a good argument for winning the decision, but ultimately I lost drive on both motors and lost the decision. Now the other damage that I received was my weapon motor. You can see this is very crunchy because this Terminator blade hits so hard, and I got so many hard hits on Cannibal Mini. As you can see, I knocked his wedge completely off his bot and shot it across the arena. but those hits take their toll on the motor and ultimately destroyed my weapon motor, which was brand new for this fight. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take this motor plate off of Tyrone, and we're going to see exactly what failed in the motor. And what I'm going to do in the future is I'm actually going to take the time now to battle harden the weapon motors for Tyrone by supporting all the magnets with epoxy. Okay, so now we have the motor out of Tyrone. We're actually going to pop this can to see exactly what potentially happened. And it's just like I thought. I don't know if you can see in here or not, but you can see all these magnets just shattered right here on the inside. And this was a brand new motor. This was the first fight that this motor had ever been in. And it was encased inside the chassis, so there's no way it took a direct hit. That was just from the sheer shock of the hits that we were exchanging. And it happened to 2 motors in a row. So for my last 2 fights, I had to swap weapon motors, and in 2 fights I destroyed 2 weapon motors. So that's why I'm going to go the battle hardened route for Tallahassee, because that can get expensive if you have to buy a weapon motor for every single fight. But other than that, Tyrone held up quite well. The chassis, like I said, could be reused. I'm going to retire it. I have 3 more printed, and I'm going to try to get him light enough to use the Bloodsport blade. So that's all of our battle damage. Now as far as Tallahassee, we're bringing Big G, we're bringing Tyrone, we're bringing That Didn't Hurt, because in the Beetle class is $800 for first, and in the Ant class is $500 for first. So why not, let's go for the money, right? Twice the bots, twice the chance. Last time I put That Didn't Hurt in, he ended up taking 3rd, so no complaints there. This past weekend, Tyrone finished 5th, but he's going to do better in Tallahassee, I'm sure. But we also have a surprise for Tallahassee. We're bringing 2 1-pounders. We've only been fighting 1. One of our earlier 1-pounders was named Gumbo, and we had retired Gumbo, but we're bringing Gumbo back. And this is going to be Gumbo right here. He is a 1-pound beater bar. And what I've done on the inside is I've flipped his weapon motor to where it actually spins, the shaft actually goes out of the back of the motor, and I made a metal mounting plate instead of the plastic one that comes with the beater bar kit. And it's also printed out of the same plastic that Tyrone's chassis is made from. And he's going to be running a 3S pack, so he should have plenty of punch. But we'll see how he does. It'll be his first outing. I'm going to let Carter drive the 2 beater bars, and I'm going to drive the other 2. So look forward to our vlog going to Tallahassee for Bot Brouhaha, and wait for those results, and we'll see you next time. Team Junkyard Dog, we're out.